Hi, I'm Jim Covington. Today is March 12, 2015. Would like to welcome you to this week's issue of ISBA Statehouse Review. There are 6 bills pending that I'd like to talk to you about. When you look at the General Assembly website, there's 2 weeks to go in which all substantive bills, non-appropriation bills, must be voted up or out of the Committee of Origin in their House of Origin by March 27th. And after that point, there will be a lot of bills that will be kind of sloughed off at that time. None of the big issues have materialized yet, although there was a all-afternoon hearing on workers' comp reform yesterday afternoon. The first of these 6 bills I'd like to talk to you about is Senate Bill 1596, introduced by Senator Dan Katowski of Park Ridge. It allows amends the County Codes Act to allow a county recorder to implement a county will depository. Unlike the current will depository regulated and run by the Secretary of State for orphan wills, where nobody knows where the testator is or have any way of getting a hold of the testator, this allows a person who is living a testator or someone that they have delegated responsibility to, like a power of attorney, to go ahead and file a will in the county recorder's office. And if the county recorder does this, they must create a form affidavit, and they create what they require in a form affidavit for the depositor to fill out. And that is scheduled for hearing next Tuesday in Senate Judiciary Committee. The next bill I'd like to talk to you about is Senate Bill 1296, introduced by Senator John Mulrow from Chicago. It creates the Insured's Independent Counsel Act, and it applies if an insurer has a duty to defend an insured under a policy of insurance and a significant and actual conflict of interest arises that imposes a duty on the insurer to provide independent counsel to the insured. It requires the insurer to provide the independent counsel to the insured unless the insured waives the right to independent counsel in writing, and it defines the phrase significant and actual conflict of interest to exclude these circumstances. 1, claims or facts in a civil action for which the insurer denies coverage. 2, the mere issuance of a reservation of rights letter by the insurer. 3, a claim of damages in excess of the policy limits. And 4, a claim of punitive damages. Or 5, any other conflict that is not significant and actual. That is scheduled for hearing next Tuesday afternoon in Senate Judiciary Committee. The next bill I'd like to talk to you about is House Bill 2569, introduced by Representative John Cabello from Rockford. And it prohibits, it amends the Code of Criminal Procedure to prohibit a guilty plea from being taken unless the court explains a number of things to the defendant, and it itemizes those. There's about 5 things, and it's like literally every possible collateral consequence that may happen upon the guilty plea. I won't go through them line by line there, but it is in the written materials that's on this program. The next bill I'd like to talk to you about is Senate Bill 1447, introduced by Senator Dan Katowski from Park Ridge. It provides that, quote, parties of record, close quote, under the administrative review law does not include a private citizen who is not acting in an official capacity or whose participation in the agency proceedings was limited to his or her attendance or testimony at the public hearing. And it's scheduled for hearing next Tuesday in Senate Judiciary Committee. The next bill is House Bill 2713. It amends the Wrongful Death Act. It's introduced by Representative Dan Brady of Normal, and it provides that if it has been proven by a preponderance of evidence that the defense intoxication contributed to or approximately caused the death of the deceased person, the jury may award punitive damages to the surviving spouse and next of kin of the deceased person. That is in House Rules Committee now. The final bill I'd like to talk to you about amends the Consumer Fraud and Deceptive Business Practices Act, and it's House Bill 2691, introduced by Representative Peter Breen from Lombard, and it expands this act for unfair or deceptive patent infringement letters to include copyrights. Under the current law, there are certain things you can't do with infringement demand letters that are designed to protect patent infringement. This expands that to include copyrights, and that's scheduled for hearing next Wednesday in House Judiciary Committee. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.